Reddit. What's the funniest thing that a random stranger said to you that made you die laughing inside? I was in the drive-thru of a Wendy's one time. An employee exited the building with his headphones on and was singing "Who Let the Dogs Out" at the top of his lungs. He saw me, stopped singing, and started walking away. A few seconds later he come up to my window and said, "Yes, that is what I'm listening to." Then he walked away. I laughed so hard at the whole situation. Okay, the laughter was not entirely inside, but years ago on the subway in New York, a crazy dude walks on the train and screams at everyone, "You're all going to heck," and then steps off as the doors close. Total silence as the weirdness of the moment settles in. Then, without missing a beat, guy across from me goes, "Shit, I thought this train was going to Harlem." Entire subway car of cynical New Yorkers bursts out laughing. I was helping a customer pick out a new bra, and she said she wanted her breasts to be lifted. She said, "My boobs are so saggy that, if my nipples were eyeballs, I'd be able to see if my shoes were untied." I really tried my best to remain professional, but I couldn't stop laughing, lol. Something from high school I'll always remember. It kind of looks like Texas. If Texas didn't look like Texas destroyed me. Was leaving Walmart and the 80-ish-year-old greeter says, "Thanks for shopping at Dollar Tree." Movie just ended. Me and my dad joined the mad rush to the bathrooms. Urinals are packed. It's our turn, we doing our business. Suddenly someone rips a huge fart. LOL, it's pretty funny, but we all have manners. Still peeing. Suddenly this dude proclaims, "It was me," and runs out the door. Whole bathroom erupts in laughter. I must have been about 10 or 11. I sat down on a bench next to an old guy to sort my shoe out. I took my shoe off and he just turns to me and says, "Are they golfing socks?" I look at him with a completely blank look on my face thinking WTF. As I looked away he just said, "There's a hole in one." A few years ago I let my friend cut my hair. It did not go well. I was living in Philadelphia at the time and was walking through South Philly when I passed two strangers in the middle of a conversation. As I pass, one of them says to the other, "Hold up, I gotta talk to this guy." He proceeds to shout to me, "Ayo, your hair looks like shit. Come over here." I was amused. Partially because of his bluntness and partially because he wasn't wrong. I was curious. So I walked over to him. He says, "Look, a buddy of mine owns a barber shop 2 blocks away. Here's his business card, I'll write my name on there. If you mention that I sent you, he'll give you a good deal." Bruh, but seriously, take care of that shit. I never ended up going to his friend's shop. But I frequently use this story as the perfect example of Philly culture: rude, blunt in your face, yet somehow coming from a place of genuine care. Plus, it's ducking hilarious. A few months ago I was waiting at a road crossing with loads of other strangers, waiting for the man to turn green. This was a busy main road in my city. A little girl on the other side of the road did the most accurate impression of the beep beep that the crossing makes, so blind people know it's safe to cross, and the entire crowd of people just stepped into the road. I had seen her do it, so I stayed put, but I couldn't stop laughing. My girlfriend was confused. 50 adults pranked by one absolute genius 6-ish-year-old. It was magical. May of 2000. Passing through Norwood, Louisiana with a friend. At around 2 in the afternoon we stopped to gas up, grab some snacks at the most podunk gas station known to man. A young man, extremely agitated, comes in with frustrated gestures and angrily shouts gestures at the cashier with an accent that is beyond region, beyond stereotyping, beyond anything I have heard before. "Where da goddamn Wally Melons at the top of lungs, approaching hysteria and tears. I work in retail, and I'm not sure why, but this had me dying for a while. I still laugh when I think about it. "Me, how you doing today, sir?" Customer, "Yep," and he went on his way. When I was about 8 years old, 40 some odd years ago, my mother and I were waiting to be seated at a restaurant, and an older gentleman was ahead of us also waiting. The waitress asked him if he'd be smoking back when that was still a thing in restaurants. And he replied no, but I may burst into flames later. Young me laughed all through lunch at that. In fact, it still makes me giggle lol. An old man on the street with a big jack-o'-lantern grin on his face and the chihuahuas under each arm loudly proclaiming to no one in particular, "I used to carry grenades. Now I carry dogs." The college I attend frequently has local elementary and middle school kids on tours, especially on Fridays. One particular Friday I was in line for the cafeteria when a group of kids came walking by with a tour guide. One kinda chubby little dude looked a bit uncomfortable. He was biting his lip a little and sweating. This part of the tour is usually when they have a bathroom break, and clearly Buddy needed to go. At this point I should note that the bathrooms are visible from where we are standing. But the tour guide, a fellow student of mine, didn't seem to notice. She just kept going on and on, talking about the history of the building. I watched this kid go from nervous to deeply anxious to visibly clenching over a span of about 3 minutes. He's staring at the stick-figure dude on the men's bathroom sign, as if it was the risen Christ. Miss Tour Guide takes a break in her spiel. I figure she's done. The next words out of her mouth will be ones to free this boy from the purgatory that is having to use the bathroom on a school trip. It'll be over. He'll be free. What followed, instead, was this. So in 1995, a professor named A. B. C. Kalamazoo. Move lady, I'm gonna shit my ass. He ran past her to the bathroom and presumably destroyed it. Poor guy. Had the entire line in tears with laughter though. When I was a freshman in college I had a pair of rainbow bell bottoms I made and wore a lot. I walking through the city back to the dorms when a guy rode up behind me on a bicycle. He was old, had long, scraggly grey hair and a bright red and yellow windsuit on. He rode beside me for a second, stared and then yelled, "Miss, your pants are hot." Quiet, and the rode away into the sunset. It was so random and hilarious. Every time I wore those pants my friends would run up behind me and yell, "Your pants are HW80. Something I overheard as two kids walked past our caravan park site. A rumbling boom of distant thunder. Kid 1, I like thunder. It sounds like a 200-year-old dog who's retired and helps old people who are blind to get around. Kid 2, silence. Kid 1, you know. Kid 2, but why is it retired? Kid 1, because it's old. Kid 2, but it's still helping blind people. Kid 1, silence. Just the other day checking out at the Cracker Barrel, the older gentleman ringing my wife up accidentally said, with all confidence, "Have a thank you." No so much said to me as overheard. Walking down the street with my fiance after dinner, a man and woman pass us. Very clearly I heard the man say, "And that's the second time I got crabs. I just keep a special little comb at the house now, just in case." I'm not sure of any particulars and have thought about that interaction often. So many questions. I know they heard me laugh though. I used to be a smoker. One time a scruffy looking man asked me for a light. I told him I only had matches. It was very windy, he said. "That's okay. There's a trick to it. You light the match and then suck down real hard. You get a mouthful of sulfur that way. But you gotta have a trick when you're going 30 miles an hour on top of a tank." I once was canoeing with my fiance for the first time and we were having a bit of trouble at first getting a rhythm going. So we were along the edge of the water hitting the canal. This random couple was walking along the wall and said to his wife while pointing at us, "AHH canoeing. The true test of love." My fiance and I bursted into laughter for 20 minutes and then finally got our rhythm together. You and your sister look exactly alike. My sister was adopted from Asia. I'm so white I freckle instead of tan. I just about died of laughter because the woman actually meant it. For context, she'd met my sister a couple weeks before, but I hadn't been there and she'd mistaken me for my sister. I was at a 50th wedding anniversary party and there were lots of elderly people in attendance. An old man was standing next to me and said, "It looks like a ducking graveyard in here." I literally spit my beer out. We were outdoors. The kicker was the guy was close to the same age as everyone else. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe,